So we mentioned how you did sell 73 cars a month and 8 cars in one day, which is almost unheard of. I just want to personally know, what is your best personal accomplishment? Maybe it isn't selling 8 cars in a day. Maybe it's helping out a special customer. What would you say your personal best accomplishment because of automotive has brought to you?
It's definitely changed my life, substantially. It's finances, number one. Before I got into the automotive industry, I was a single mom, living paycheck to paycheck. Like, I had a good salary, but I also, like, having to take care of 2 kids on my own kind of outweighed having any type of free money, to really say, ooh, I want to do this. So a goal of mine was just, I've always wanted to see what the outside world looks like. Like, what's out there, versus being in Indiana, because that's where I'm from.
Mm-hmm.
So a huge accomplishment for me was, 4 years ago, me being able to, someone extended an invite to say, hey, do you want to take your kids to Disney World for Christmas? And I'm like, yeah, I can do that because I got the money now to do that. Mm. So, we spent the whole week for Christmas in Orlando going to 3 different amusement parks. And I didn't have to stress about, like, where's this money going to come from?
That's what I was going to ask.
Or have limits. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So my kids were able to enjoy doing whatever, the day looked like.
And that was your personal accomplishment, is just being able to provide for them and seeing how happy they were. And at the end of the day, you weren't stressed out thinking, when I get back, I need to start making up these bills because I just spent them all.
Absolutely. Yeah, when we got back, it's the end of the year. It's going into the new year. Mm-hmm. So that means the new goals are rolling in place. But I was good. Like, it did not put a dent in my finances. And, my kids were happy. And from there, even up to now, I mean, that's how we do. We travel a lot. So.
That's great.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing I wanted to ask is, what is like one thing you wish that you knew before starting, like before even touching floor in automotive or on the showroom? What is one thing maybe that you wish past Crissy kind of let me know about that?
For me, when I first got into the automotive industry, I was only focused on one field, which was special finance, mm-hmm. because that's what my mentor brought me in to do, because he's the one who sold me a car, and then that's how I got in the business. So I didn't really know, like, outside of special finance, like, what did a everyday, just being a car salesperson look like? Mm-hmm. So when I first got in, like, I was kind of clueless, like, what?
How do I do this?
Yeah. But luckily, I worked at a dealership where they saw that I was not just eager in my field of special finance, but I also just enjoyed being a car saleswoman, and I was good at my job. I'm number one when I don't have any experience. So, gradually, they started showing me the processes that I needed to know.
So you just wish you just knew the day-to-day kind of
I wish I knew just before I got into it what I was getting myself into.
Do you think you would have got into it if you did?
Honestly, yes. Because it's a good business to be in, people want to buy cars every day. Even in this pandemic, like, you would think, like, so for me, when the pandemic first came about, I'm not going to lie, I was kind of scared because I was like, okay, well, my career is about to change. Mm-hmm. And I talked to my manager at the time about it. I was like, I don't know how I'm about to survive, selling cars in this pandemic. A lot of people are losing their jobs. A lot of people don't have money. The world shut down, and that stopped flow of everything. So I'm like, how can I expect people to still want to buy a car? But oddly, statistics were different. Like, even though people were no longer working, they had money.
They found it somehow.
Yeah, there were so many resources that were helping people that a lot of people were able to save more money. Mm-hmm. So that actually made my career jumpstart, because they're like, okay, well, the ones who doubted themselves on even being able to afford a car, no, now I got the extra money, and now let me go get this car that I've really been wanting to get. So, that's definitely something that I doubted, but it, ended up overpowering and made me even more successful. I sold my most cars during the pandemic.
And that's what I was going to ask too, is if you think because of the pandemic, if it helped you in any way more.
Absolutely.
In some ways.
It changed my career. I sold 73 cars last March. We're still in a pandemic.
Yeah.
The year prior, I sold the most cars I've ever sold, which was like 52 cars in 2020.
So
we're still in a pandemic. And the more cars I'm selling, the more my customers are bragging on these experiences that I'm giving them. So that's like being able to do that in the pandemic and being able to increase my numbers has, increased my career substantially.
That's amazing to hear that you've had your record-breaking month during the pandemic. And most people just, kind of use it as an excuse. So
correct.
I applaud you for that.
Thank you.
Something else that I definitely wanted to ask you is, what do you feel like kind of made you believe is one, and even do what you did, selling 73 cars? How does somebody kind of get into that same mindset like you? The average person sells around 10 cars a month. How are you selling 73 cars a month? And what pushed you, like you said, you were selling 50 to get you to that 73?
Honestly, I didn't even know that the opportunity was waiting on me. That happened in March. That January, I had scatterbrain. And I'm not ashamed to say this, but January, I sold like 15 cars. My lowest month, and I just wasn't there. I didn't have any, mentally, I wasn't there. And I started doubting myself. Like, is this really the career for me? Do I really want to be Crissy the Car Fairy? Do I really want to get into something different? And I wanted to. I had registered a business and I was going to just walk away from the industry and focus solely on being an entrepreneur for myself. But then I had my uncle reach out to me and tell me, hey, I got an opportunity waiting on you. So I ended up switching dealers and, I went to the dealership that I'm at now and literally went from a 14-car month in January to starting a new dealership February the 4th and selling 47 cars. So that gave me hope. Like, okay, maybe you just needed a change of scenery. Because I was comfortable where I was, And then I went to a dealership where I'm like not comfortable. I don't know anybody. I got to relearn a new team. But, it motivated me. And it gave me the ability to sell more cars, and selling more cars, I'm interacting with more people, and that's more word of mouth. And now people are really like Crissy the Car Fairy.
So Crissy, what is the carsaleswoman.com platform, and why did you even create it?
So the Car Saleswoman platform is specifically designed to, one, attract more females in this industry. Because statistics shows that the automotive industry only makes up like 23% of women, and that's low compared to, so you're telling me if I walk into a dealership, I'm going to see maybe one female out of 11 salespeople. So for me, it was super important to, gravitate and get more women, get more females, in this business, and definitely teach them the game and show them, I'm not just the only number one female. My goal is to see hundreds of them, so that's why I thought it was super important, to create carsaleswoman.com.
So you just want to basically put more women in automotive, and not only that, just make them more successful than men?
Absolutely. I'm the only female in the dealership, literally, and I'm number one, so if I have hope within myself, knowing, hey, you can be number one in a male-dominated industry, I definitely, can teach other women to do the same. But yeah, like for me, once I hit that 73 car mark, I had a lot of people that were reaching out to me, all over the world, calling me, texting on my social media platforms. And they're like, teach me the game, show me the ropes. And I still sell cars,
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm still doing this. I'm still maneuvering, dealing with, the hundreds of customers that I'm dealing with, to be able to sell all these cars that I'm selling. But yeah, I just woke up one day like, okay, well, let's create this Car Saleswoman platform. to show people you can do this, but also keeping myself in the business and still selling cars, as well. So it's a growing and learning experience for everyone.
And I think it's a lot like you touched based on that you're not just a trainer that, sold cars before. You're selling cars now in the pandemic.
Yeah. I'm still in the business and I desire and I'm determined to still stay in this business even with Car Saleswoman being out there,
And as we were talking, you don't have anybody helping you out. There's no assistant. There's no receptionist. It's just you.
Yeah, people call me like... Wow. The impossible. I've never had an assistant. I don't even know what... I've had trial and error, like the dealership. They call it a product specialist. Mm-hmm. And that lasted for a couple weeks, literally. They gave me a female. Her name was Jade. And I met her, and 3 days later, I never saw her again.
Wow. Is it because of something you did? Or
no.
She just wasn't cut out for your pace?
Honestly, like, in the 3 days of me, like, observing her... She didn't have much balance and confidence at all in this business. Like,
you think that's important to have as a woman, especially?
Yeah. It's definitely, my goal with carsaleswoman.com is to definitely build confidence. Being comfortable working around a lot of men.
Yeah.
Because that can become aggressive, when you're walking into a dealership and you're around all men. And, we as women, we have our moments. And I'm like, I don't really have anybody to lean on. I don't have a sister to lean on. I don't have a friend to lean on.
Or the guys can go in the back and they can talk in a lot. There's not a lot of girls back there just talking about, what their kids' projects are, different things like that. There's nobody to kind of connect with you on that too.
So my goal, like I said, is to change those statistics.
So going back to carsaleswoman.com, what is some of the content and things you're going to be teaching women and even men in the automotive industry? So
there's going to be 3 key factors, on this platform. One, special finance. Because that's what I do, So breaking down and learning the importance of how to juggle special finance customers and how to be successful in selling these customers, and capitalizing and making as much money as you can, with special finance customers. And then the second section is going to cover, being a woman in the automotive industry, how to successfully sell cars as a woman. And then 2, for managers, like how to properly recruit, and bring women into the car business, and what does that look like? And then it's not just going to be for women, but also for men, how to understand, as a man working alongside a woman, the do's and don'ts, of being in the same environment with a female, and then the third section is going to cover showroom sales. What does that look like? I'm showing you that I sold 73 cars on the showroom floor by myself, no assistant, so the proper aspects that outlines how to be successful on the showroom floor, capitalizing and selling as many cars as you can.
I'm super excited to learn.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited for this platform. And I think that it's going to, change a lot in this industry, not just for typical car salespeople, but it's going to motivate women.
That's the most important.
Yeah, it's going to motivate us to stay in this industry, get in this industry, understand the importance of being in this industry. And I think the dealerships are going to increase volume and numbers, once they see why it's important to have just as many men salesmen as they do women.
So, Crissy, if someone wants to learn more from you personally, because as you mentioned, thousands of people are reaching out to you on the daily, if they're interested in carsaleswoman.com, do they just go to carsaleswoman.com, or how do they get a hold of you?
Absolutely. They can go to www.carsaleswoman.com, or they can reach out to me, through social media, Crissy the Car Fairy.
What kind of social medias are you on?
So I'm on Facebook and I'm also on Instagram.
Okay.
Working on TikTok, but I'm not a mastermind like you just yet. So
we'll get there.
Yeah.
Is there anything, last statements that you want to say? I'm so grateful that I was able to interview you. And
I'm honored, honestly. You walked me down memory lane, you know, and it took me back to my first day of being a car saleswoman. And that really upbeats me on why it's important with carsaleswoman.com, you know, because I want my story to be thousands of stories. You know, I want to one day look back and be able to look at plenty tapes, you know, and they're having, you know, similar stories to mine, and they're excited about being a woman in the automotive industry. Again, that's why carsaleswoman.com is super important, and I'm excited for this platform.
Thank you so much, Crissy. I appreciate your time, and thank you again
My
for meeting
pleasure.
with us.
Do you like the content? Well, if you want more, then you need to sign up for Bradley On Demand, the world's best virtual training platform in the entire automotive industry. With some of the top speakers, salespeople, and trainers, and almost 7,000 training modules. You will sell more cars more often and more profitably. So sign up now at www.bradleyondemand.com.